And you know what? If there's one thing we know, it's race cars. And so Aaron, well, he better have his act together because he's not just going to be able to put a set of air ride shocks on this thing and then flip it at the auction.
Behind the roar of engines and Oklahoma streetlights lies a side of AZN that few have ever seen. What happens when raw passion collides with a heartbreak that never fully fades? His story isn't just about racing. It's about loss, grit, and the bond that helped shape a fan-favorite icon. From early family tragedy to the friendships that carried him forward, AZN's journey takes sharp turns most never expect. This isn't just about checkered flags. It's about the weight behind the wheel. Get ready to uncover the heartbreak and hope behind the man known as AZN, the pain behind the passion. Jeff Bonnet, better known as AZN, grew up in Oklahoma City, a place where street racing runs through the streets and culture. From a young age, Jeff was drawn not only to cars, but to the tight-knit community and adrenaline-filled environment that surrounded them. Yet his early passion was overshadowed by a deep personal loss that would shape him for life. As a teenager, Jeff lost his mother to cancer, a devastating blow that left him facing grief and uncertainty far too young. Before he could fully recover, tragedy struck again in 2001 when his father, Denise Bonnet, a Vietnam War veteran and Jeff's first mentor, died of a heart condition. Losing both parents at such a formative age left Jeff and his sister Brenda orphaned, forcing him to confront adulthood much earlier than most. Denise had been more than a father. He was the one who sparked Jeff's fascination with tinkering and mechanics, planting the seeds of the passion that would later define AZN's racing career. His father's death became a turning point. Racing grew into Jeff's way of honoring Denise's memory and holding on to their connection. Working on a beat-up 1964 Chevy Nova II loaned to him by his father, Jeff poured his energy into restoring the car. Weekends spent under the hood became a sanctuary filled with the lessons and memories Denise left behind.
All right, guys, well, Asian here. We're in the Chevy 2. It's built by church boys.
This bond, rooted in loss, love, and shared passion, laid the foundation for Jeff's determination, shaping his future in street racing and forging resilience built on both grief and grit. Jeff's early years on the streets of Oklahoma City were defined by this mix of resilience and a search for belonging. His family losses gave urgency to his dreams, but they also fostered a sense of vulnerability tempered by determination. This emotional undercurrent shaped his personality and how fans came to see him, not just as a racer or entertainer, but as a figure who navigated tragedy with courage. The pain he endured was hidden beneath his trademark humor and energy, making his story all the more compelling. Growing up in a culture where speed and competition often overshadow personal struggle, Jeff managed to retain a humility and groundedness enriched by his hardships. His experiences crafted a complex man who values relationships and loyalty above mere trophies. The street racing community became a surrogate family, where camaraderie and mutual respect helped fill the absence left by his parents. These ties would become an anchor as Jeff's career developed, carrying him through the ups and downs that awaited. While many see AZN for his on-screen charisma and antics, his backstory reveals an enduring spirit forged through adversity. The early losses pushed him into a world he embraced with open arms, but also deep reverence. The intensity of those formative years added layers to his drive and outlook, influencing his approach to racing and life. To truly understand AZN, one must look past the racetrack to the battles he fought far from the public eye. It was in this environment of loss and love that Jeff Bonnet began his journey, not as a polished TV star, but as a young man grappling with grief and chasing speed. His story is a reminder that sometimes the fastest cars are driven by the heaviest hearts. The engines revved louder when Jeff's passion for cars was ignited by those early experiences and his father's mentorship, shaping his ambitions and laying the foundation for his racing journey. First steps into racing. Jeff's first real experience with racing began with a beat-up 1964 Chevy Nova II. purchased with money his father, Denis, lent him under a promise of repayment. Though far from impressive, the Nova became a symbol of Jeff's growing passion and a reflection of his bond with his dad. With no job and limited means, Jeff found creative ways to earn the money he owed, painting house numbers on curbs to help emergency responders, a small but early sign of his determination and resourcefulness. Jeff and Denis spent countless weekends restoring the Nova together. These moments were more than simple repairs. They served as an apprenticeship in mechanics, patience, and discipline. Denis taught Jeff the fundamentals of car maintenance, skills that would become essential throughout his racing career. Their time under the hood cemented Jeff's respect for the mechanical craft and transformed the Nova into a vehicle filled with personal meaning and potential. After the Nova, Jeff took a bold step by acquiring a 1970 Volkswagen Beetle, later known as the Dung Beetle.
The Dung Beetle? It lives in 600 feet.
Unlike the muscle cars common on the streets, this quirky Beetle reflected Jeff's unconventional personality. With engine and suspension upgrades, he turned the unlikely car into a surprisingly competitive contender, showcasing his creativity, skill, and underdog spirit. The first phase of Jeff's racing life allowed him to witness the unpredictability of street racing and the need. Beetle's charm and performance gave him a unique spot in the racing community, thus differentiating him from speed-obsessed competitors. It was a crowd pleaser that mirrored Jeff's strategy of having fun, but with skill, and proved that passion, not just horsepower, could lead to a successful racing career. However, despite the Beetle being very appealing and sometimes surprising on the track, Jeff was often beaten. Thus continuing the harsh truth about the sport, Jeff's devotion to improvement and gaining experience finally established his presence in the Oklahoma City streets. It was at the local tracks and events where he learned the most and made the connections that would lead him to great opportunities in the future. At the same time, his love for racing got bigger, along with his realization that the sport required endurance, the ability to lose, learn, and come back stronger. These first steps not only shaped his driving, but also his character, which became a mix of humor, humility, and toughness. During this time, another very prominent personality, Shaun Whitley, who was subsequently called Farmtruck, came into Jeff's life. At first, Shaun was a competitor, but later he would take on the roles of mentor, friend, and brother-in-arms. Their mutual respect for the sport and differing but complementary personalities turned into a very strong alliance that played a major part in Jeff's career. With the right combinations of fatherly teachings and Farmtruck's support, Jeff's racing journey got both the momentum and direction. Jeff Bonnet's start in racing, with a very diverse collection of vehicles and diverse mentors, made him different from many of his contemporaries. His tale has become one of uniqueness and soul rather than mere speed and ostentatious cars. This very foundation gave him the power to adopt an odd but, at the same time, very efficient way of racing. One that, as well as being totally fun, created a good atmosphere of friendships and a great time through competing, even if the situation was not always in his favor. The unlikely friendship and partnership between Jeff and Shaun, Farmtruck Whitley, would prove to be one of the most influential chapters in AZN's life and racing career. The bond with Farmtruck. Jeff's meeting with Shaun Farmtruck Whitley was more than a chance encounter. It was the beginning of a partnership that would define their careers and lives. While Jeff entered the racing world as a determined newcomer with underdog vehicles, Farmtruck was a seasoned veteran commanding respect with a powerful 1970 Chevrolet C10 pickup. Their contrasting backgrounds and styles created an unusual dynamic, but mutual admiration and a shared passion for racing forged a deep connection between them. The duo's friendship blossomed quickly, with some suggesting Jeff found in Shaun the father figure he lost to tragedy. Shaun's experience and steady presence complemented Jeff's youthful energy and humor, and together they formed a formidable team. Their chemistry was evident not only on the track, but in everyday moments, highlighting a balance of mentorship, camaraderie, and mutual support. This bond strengthened both as they faced the highs and lows of street racing. As Street Outlaws burst onto the scene in 2013, the pair made their mark as core members of the powerful 405 crew. Their vehicles, personalities, and unmistakable banter captured the attention of fans and producers alike. Often seen side by side, they were described by many as inseparable, with Jeff's playful role as a sidekick to Farmtruck underscoring their close relationship.
Hey, Farmtruck and AZN here. We're in Australia.
We shipped the Farmtruck.
Yet, beneath the surface, it was clear that each brought something vital to their partnership, making them greater than the sum of their parts. While many racers fiercely competed for glory, Jeff and Sean took a distinct approach. They focused on builds that balanced performance with everyday usability, favoring fun and longevity over pure speed. This philosophy sometimes put them at odds with others chasing the top spots, but also earned them respect for their authenticity and passion. Their unconventional style made their appearances and races as entertaining as they were competitive. Beyond the track, their friendship extended into shared hobbies, creative projects, and mutual encouragement. Whether painting cars, customizing new builds, or simply joking around, their off-track adventures endeared them to fans and humanized them beyond the fierce racing world. This openness made their story relatable and helped cement a loyal fan base eager to follow both their triumphs and trials. Together, AZN and Farmtruck created a legacy marked by grit, humor, and heart. Their partnership allowed Jeff to channel his personal losses into motivation and to find family and purpose within a demanding world. This foundation gave both men strength as they navigated the challenges of fame, competition, and life's unpredictable turns. Though their beginnings were humble, AZN and Farmtruck's dynamic elevated them to stars on Street Outlaws, where their unique style and personalities captured the hearts of fans across the country. Rise on Street Outlaws. When Street Outlaws premiered in 2013, Jeff Bonnet, better known as AZN, and Farmtruck quickly became standout personalities. Their down-to-earth attitudes, humor, and genuine love for racing brought a fresh energy to the show. Rather than chasing wins at all costs, they highlighted the camaraderie and fun that define true street racing, earning AZNA reputation as one of the show's most charismatic figures. Their vehicles, a powerful 1970 Chevrolet C10 for Farmtruck and the quirky Dung Beetle for AZN, became fan favorites. While other racers relied on massive horsepower and heavily modified muscle cars, Jeff's Beetle stood out for its charm and originality. His dedication to pushing such an unconventional build to its limits won him respect from viewers and fellow racers, even if it didn't always secure a top spot on race night. AZN's nickname, inspired by his mixed Asian and Caucasian heritage, added to his unique on-screen presence. His playful smack talk, fearless attitude, and infectious energy made him impossible to overlook. The Oklahoma City streets became his training ground, shaping his skill behind the wheel and reinforcing his bond with the racing community. But AZN's rise wasn't without struggle. He faced more losses than wins, often overshadowed by competitors with flashier and faster cars. Each defeat tested him, but Jeff's determination and his desire to honor his father's memory kept him pushing forward. For him, racing was never just about victory. It was about adrenaline, purpose, and passion. With each successive season, AZN and Farmtruck emerged as the epitome and the most recognizable faces within the street racing community. Their unique appeal, both behind the scenes and competing on the tracks, created a tight-knit friendship that was felt by the entire audience across the country. The trio of laughter, faithfulness, and inventiveness became the very essence of the Street Outlaws' character. Still, their oddball flair sometimes rubbed the wrong way in the show's increasingly ruthless setting. While others were striving for maximum horsepower, the pair went for a harmonious relationship between performance, usability, and fun. This attitude sometimes led to conflicts, but at the same time, It cemented their identity. Drivers processing the spirit
All the way down here just to do some fishing with some unsuspecting Aussie drivers.
and not the show AZN and Farmtruck, with their humble and friendly manners, built up a fan base that not only cared for them because of their racing, but also for their personality, which was fundamentally their heart. The blend of AZN's humor with Farmtruck's calmness completely changed the picture of street racing that could be shown on TV. In spite of the ups and downs Jeff encountered during his time on Street Outlaws, his influence was not limited to wins only. By being an inspiration, an entertainer, and a true person altogether, he got himself a permanent spot as one of the most loved and long-lasting characters of the show. As their time on the main show unfolded, challenges began to emerge that would test the limits of AZN and Farmtruck's resolve and force them to reconsider their place in the racing world. Trials and setbacks. Despite their strong presence and loyal fan base, Jeff and Sean eventually faced obstacles that complicated their path. Their unconventional approach, favoring cars that could be driven daily and prioritizing fun over sheer power, did not always match the increasingly aggressive, speed-focused direction of the competition. As rival racers invested heavily in high-performance builds, Jeff and Sean often struggled to keep pace. Over time, this mismatch led to fewer invitations to major races, as producers and competitors questioned their commitment to top-tier competition. These setbacks weighed heavily on both men. For Jeff, whose passion for racing was tied closely to personal loss, and the friendships he built, being sidelined was more than a professional disappointment. It struck at his sense of identity. Farmtruck, a respected veteran, felt similar frustration, watching the sport shift away from the values he cherished. Together, they confronted the possibility that their style of racing no longer fit the high-stakes World Street Outlaws had become. Instead of giving up, Jeff and Sean responded with resilience. They decided to carve out their own space, creating a platform where they could race by their own rules. This led to the launch of their spin-off series, Street Outlaws, Farmtruck, and AZN in 2018. The show offered fans a behind-the-scenes look at their lives, builds, humor, and the friendship that sustained them through adversity. The spin-off stood apart from the main show. Rather than focusing on cutthroat racing, it highlighted camaraderie, creativity, and the joy of building and driving unique vehicles. Episodes showcased their custom projects, hobbies like fishing, and the everyday challenges they faced. This lighter, more personal angle resonated with viewers who appreciated seeing the human side of street racing. However, the spin-off never reached the same level of mainstream success. Some blamed limited promotion, while others believed viewers expected more high-intensity racing. Eventually, Jeff and Sean rejoined the Main Street Outlaws lineup, returning to the competitive environment that first defined them. Throughout these changes, the dung beetle remained a constant symbol of Jeff's determination. The quirky Volkswagen represented his underdog spirit, creativity, and unwavering commitment to racing his way. That car became a fan favorite, reminding audiences that passion, not horsepower, was the heart of AZN's story. In every setback, Jeff leaned on his bond with Farmtruck. Their friendship, marked by loyalty and humor, helped them navigate exclusion and criticism. Together, they proved that resilience isn't measured by trophies, but by staying true to yourself when the landscape shifts. Their story of persistence and loyalty set the stage for reflecting on AZN's enduring impact and the promise of what may still be to come. Legacy and future aspirations. AZN's journey through the world of street racing is more than a timeline of races and repairs. It's a story of resilience, friendship, and passion that reaches far beyond the pavement. Despite setbacks and challenges, Jeff Bonnet has become a defining figure in the Street Outlaws universe. His blend of humor, heart, and authenticity reshaped how audiences view the sport, showing that street racing is as much about camaraderie as competition. His legacy continues to inspire fans and racers who value personality as much as performance. The dung beetle car of a renowned designer embodies all that is AZN, a spirit of an underdog, a nonconformist attitude, and the determination to go beyond the limits, regardless of the situation. The Beetle, with its unconventional and fun personality, soon won the hearts of the audience and became a sign of affection rather than sheer strength. AZN's commitment to bringing out every bit of performance from such a strange car underscores his view that racing is not only about winning, but also about showing up with fierce and joyful spirits. While the cars might be the main products, AZN's biggest asset was the relationships he made, especially the one with Farmtruck. Their collaboration through respect and the difficulties they faced together underscored the role of trust in a sport that is so uncertain. The pair went through criticism, separation, and the changing of the industry, and kept each other as their constant support for progress. Their relationship is still the most important part of AZN's character. Looking ahead, AZN's future is still full of opportunities. His dynamic character and unconventional methods indicate that he might be even more creative, whether through competition, mentoring, or other combinations of car culture among people. Fans are excited about what he will do next. He keeps his private life very secret, but some signs of stability beyond the scenes show a down-to-earth guy who prizes his friends as much as the excitement of racing. He has experienced a series of injuries and incidents, one of which was a malfunction at the Summer Nats Festival in Australia, and he has always come back with the same willpower. AZN is the representation of the human aspect of street racing. He exhibits passion over perfection, connection over conquest, and heart above all. The story of AZN reminds us that behind every high-octane race is a real human journey shaped by passion, loss, and resilience. His unique path, strong bond with Farmtruck, and deep love for street racing make him a true icon. If you enjoyed learning about his life, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more Street Outlaws stories. And before you go, keep the momentum rolling by watching the next video on your screen. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned.